In this video, we're going to cover non-aggregation methods. So these are the ones that don't return a single value. So let's go ahead and put our data frame up there. So the first thing we could do is call it abs, the absolute value. And these are salaries, so they all look positive. But in fact, if you call min, you'll see that there are some salaries that are negative. I'm not sure how that happened, but data sets can have all sorts of bad data in them, and it's your job to discover them or to investigate at least. So let's go ahead and call absolute value. So this is non-aggregating, so it's going to return a data frame with the same dimensions as the original, right? All 50,000 rows and 6 columns. We can verify now that the minimum value is no longer negative, so we've turned everything positive with the absolute value. All right, so the round method is another one. And as you can see, there are some decimal places over here. By default, if you put nothing, it will round it to the nearest integer. You can round it to 1 decimal place by putting the first parameter over here is how many decimals you want to round it to. With salaries like this, I tend to like to round things to the nearest 1,000 or nearest 100. The nearest 100 may be better because there might be some smaller ones like over time they'll get rounded down to 0. But for a number this large, you typically are not interested in the cents portion. So it gives you a better idea of what the actual salaries are without having to look at all these smaller numbers. So rounding can be quite helpful there. And you'll notice that some of these methods don't have an access parameter. So there's no direction for absolute value or round. If you press Shift Tab Tab, you'll see there's no access parameter. Same thing for abs. There's no access parameter because you're not going right or left. You're applying the operation to every single value. All right. This isn't the case for the cumulative methods, the cumulative sum and cumulative max or min. So let's actually go with cumulative min first. So the way this is going to work is that this works vertically. So if you press Shift Tab Tab, you'll have the access parameter. So this does have a direction, and by default, it does work vertically. So it's going to, since we've already covered this in the series, you should have understood it from there. But just a quick explanation is that it's going to go one by one. It's going to hold on to the minimum. So you have to have the original data here to see what the current minimum is, right? So here it's 68,000. It'll still be 68,000 in the third, and when we get to the fourth, this is smaller and even smaller. So it'll just keep updating whatever that minimum is vertically like this. You can see there are those negative values in there somewhere. Cumulative max just does the opposite. It keeps track of the maximum for that particular column, right? Cumulative sum just continues to sum up, right? It just accumulates the sum one at a time going vertically. Now, like I said, you can change the access parameter. We'll just set it equal to 1. I kind of like just doing 1 instead of columns because it's just less typing. So here we are accumulating the salary going, or the compensation going to the right, right? So here is 0, so there's nothing to accumulate. With retirement, we add that to 14,000 to our original to get this number and so forth. So you can change the direction of the operation for some of these when they make sense. Some of them there's just no direction like absolute value or round. All right, so that does it for some of the non-aggregation methods.